We're back with another red-hot recipe with our local firefighter. This is Laura Kettlehot. She is a Fond du Lac firefighter who enters all sorts of cooking competitions, and once in a while she wins. I hope she keeps doing it, because let me tell you, her recipes are out of this world. And do they all have a little kick to them?
I do like spice. I like to spice it up. I think it gives it a lot of flavor instead of bland. So yeah, I experiment with spice.
As I get older, the hotter the better too. Yeah. I like, bring it on. So we're going to make one of my all-time favorite things, and I think a lot of people are intimidated about making these at home. We're going to make crab cakes, and they're not all that hard to make. You know, you don't just have to order them at a restaurant. You can also make them at home. So I'm going to let you take it away and get us started.
Okay. I like to make my crab cakes huge, so I usually have them as dinner, not just an appetizer.
I'm with you. So, you know, you ever go to the restaurant and it's like, where's the crab cake? Yeah. And they're this big. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm going to be dicing up some, Laura likes things spicy, so we've got some jalapeno pepper and habanero pepper here. Yep. Real fine dice on these.
This is the crab. I use a generous amount because with each bite I like to get a big chunk of crab in there. Just filtering through to make sure that all the shells are out of there. And then,
and that's real important, because if you've ever bitten into a crab cake, Deb just had this experience recently. Got a big crunch of shell, and then it's history. You know what I mean? Just not good.
Yep. And this is I pre-cooked some shrimp and some garlic and butter. I love crab cakes, and when I thought of this recipe, I'm like, I would just love a big chunk of shrimp in there too. So that's where it came from.
Bring it on. So about 3 cans of white crab meat, and we drained them really well. Be careful of the little piece of paper in the crab meat can. Yep. Don't want that in there. And some shrimp.
And then this is a Tabasco jalapeno flavor. Speaking of the different flavors that they have, that is one of them. This is some Worcestershire sauce.
How does that jalapeno Tabasco, is that hotter than the regular stuff?
Nope, it's actually very mild. It has barely any heat to it. It's just really flavorful. Excuse me, I'm going to reach over here.
Go for it.
Some ground mustard.
Just to bind it all together.
Yep, and then some mayo.
Mayonnaise and mustard, that's what I use in my crab cakes too. And
then this is some of that Old Bay seasoning that you had used earlier. It's great for seafood.
It really is. Once you start using that, you'll use it all the time.
And then, excuse me, grab this for my
Go for it. Now be careful when you're chopping up these peppers. I'm going to wash my hands right away. And you said a lot of times you'll use rubber gloves. Yeah. Don't want to be touching my eyes after this.
Especially for the habanero one.
Should I just throw these in?
Sure.
So finely diced jalapeno pepper. We got rid of the seeds. And 1 habanero pepper. And then some scallions. Should I throw those in as well?
Yep.
Okay. Mild onion flavor in there. Now this is the fun part about this recipe. Tell everybody what you're using to kind of, instead of breadcrumbs, which most people would use, what are we using to bind it together here?
This is lime-flavored Tostito chips. So it gives it that hint of lime flavor, and it binds it all together.
Finely crush it up, so what, you just kept using a rolling pin or put it in a food processor or something like that?
Yep, either way will work really good.
Yum. So it's going to add some flavor and a little bit of crunch there.
And I use about a cup, but you can kind of see if it looks a little wet, you might need to add a little bit more.
Okay. Just like breadcrumbs, I always start with less and then add more. Don't want it too much going on. Little lemon juice in here?
Yep, little lemon juice. Might use a little bit more.
Now, Laura, you submitted this recipe, but it didn't win. I'm telling you, keep going with this one, because I think it is a winner. They wanted the mac and cheese, which I totally understand. Very regional dish, too.
Maybe next year. All right, we'll try that.
And you say that get in there with your hands, really, at this point. It's kind of the best way.
Yeah,
I'm going to heat up some olive oil. Make the patties like a burger, you know, mix it in. So, non-stick skillet, lots of olive oil. Tell me when.
Just like kind of coat the bottom of the pan so they fry up nice, and just going to give my hand a quick rinse here.
You bet. So do you cook every night?
Nice and golden brown.
Do you cook every night at home?
I try to, and if I'm not at work, I like to cook
Your
at home.
husband eats well and got a little boy, an adorable son, by the way. Thanks. Cutie pie.
This is how I form my crab cakes. I just put it in this little, kind of use it for egg. Good and put it in there and just kind of pat it down. So then they're all kind of consistent and the same. Everything's thoroughly cooked in there, so you really just got to brown both sides.
Got it. We're using mayonnaise instead of raw eggs, so.
Yep. Are you able to get it up?
Yeah. You know, I just want to make sure that oil's good and hot, though, so I'm going to give that 2 seconds. So let's make a couple more of those patties. If you don't have one of these rings, which I want to get one of those, like a tuna can or a crab cake can or something like that, or a crab can, excuse me. Yeah, cookie cutter. Just cut or open both sides. I want to have some real hot oil here.
Yeah, that's important when frying these up because they're kind of delicate.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
until you get them browned up, they're a little delicate, and then once you get them golden brown on one side, you're good to
and
go.
And this is my kind of crab cake. I mean, none of these wimpy little guys.
Yeah.
And that's the fun thing. If you make them at home, you can make them nice and big. Sometimes you go out to a restaurant, and I always order them. I have to be honest when they're on a restaurant menu because I want to see how good they really are. But sometimes they're like $15 for this little thing. Mm-hmm. At home, you can make a whole ton of them for that. Yep. And I'm like you. This is the meal.
Right.
Give me a salad. Yeah. They're great actually even on a bun if you want to stretch it and make like a crab cake burger.
Yep.
Let's do one more.
Well, that's a good idea for another recipe.
Yeah, there you go. Looks perfect.
Get your hands dirty on this one.
Yeah, that's okay. That's with most good recipes, that's how it works. All right, I'll let you go wash your hands and we'll get working on this sauce. Yum. I can smell the chips. Just want to wash these really carefully. All right, I'll let you watch those. Keep an eye on those because you know when to. Let's kind of clear this out of here, and then we're going to work on the sauce. Because one of my favorite things about crab cakes, the dipping sauce, and I always have to have a little extra. And this has got a really great kind of a different sauce. Clear away our mess. I hope your husband does the dishes after you.
He usually does, and I do a really good job at completely tearing apart the kitchen.
You and me are both. That's okay. All right, so we're going to work on, it's a remoulade sauce. Yep. Kind of like a kicked up tartar sauce, basically. Fancy name for it. But tell us all what we've got in here.
It's like equal parts of mayonnaise and sour cream.
Okay. Oh, how is this looking? This looks amazing. All right, so mayo and sour cream.
And then there's some fresh chopped basil. Which I love fresh chopped basil.
I do too.
It adds a lot of flavor.
Then Laura likes things spicy, so we've got some more of that Asian chili sauce.
Yep.
Sriracha it's called.
And then more ground mustard.
And that's it.
And there's balsamic vinegar.
I forgot about that. A little bit of balsamic in there. Pretty color, by the way.
There's a couple staple condiments in my house. Obviously, the chili powder and the Tabasco sauce.
Yeah.
Have around.
Now that you got your supply of Tabasco, you need to use it. Well, I'm excited to try some of the different flavors of Tabasco.
And you squeeze a little bit of lemon juice in there also.
Oh, okay. Yum. This looks really good. How is this coming along?
They're looking pretty good.
Just want them nice and brown. You can always add a little more oil if
move them around a little bit. So
yeah,
don't start sticking.
Exactly. You have to be careful because there's a fine line. You want them brown, but you don't want them burned. So really keep an eye on them. Don't walk away. Looks really, really tasty. All right, let's get a plate and start getting this together. Good color.
And these two, I mean, you can make them as appetizers. Obviously, make them a little bit smaller, and
so you can feed
a lot of people with this.
And you could make the whole, the mixture ahead of time, get them into the patties, and then fry them up the last minute. Because that's the kind of the pain is, once that's done, you can make them the day ahead, and
Right.
That looks unbelievable. Let's drizzle with a little of this
remoulade sauce.
Oh my goodness gracious!
That cools it down a little bit.
Wow, Laura, this is to die for. Recipes are on our website. We'll be back.